Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willowbound Journals, and for today's video I have a tutorial or craft video where I am making some tags. So I've just pulled out this book. It is a botanical book that I thrifted from one of the local op shops or thrift shops, and I love using the index pages for botanical tags because, I'm going to cover up most of the background anyway with some decoration. In this case, I'll be using some beautiful floral stickers. So it doesn't matter too much what is in the background, but I just like knowing that the paper that I'm using in the background matches the theme of the tag. So I'm using botanical book pages for my botanical tags, and I'm just testing it out here, grabbing one of the washi stickers, or it's not actually a washi sticker, it's a transparent type of sticker, and I was just testing if it looked okay going horizontally and vertically, and so I can get 2 tags per page. I end up placing the tags so that the writing does go what's the right word, lengthwise on its side, which isn't my ideal way of doing it. Like if I could, I would definitely have the words go across. That is my preferred option, but I don't mind, the tags are just fun, whichever way they go. And I do add a little bit of collage, so it's really just to provide a background. And I thought I'd prefer to, not waste as much of that paper as possible, so I can use as much paper as possible with these book pages. So to get 2 tags per page, that's what I ended up doing. And so I'm using manila folder that I've already pre-prepared. So I do have a separate tutorial where I show how I make my tags. But basically what I do is I get manila folder because I like the thickness of manila folder. It's not too thin, it's not too thick, it's Goldilocks, it's just right. And I like the color because then you can use it in vintage theme journals. You can use it in any theme journal, but I like the cream color of the manila folder. And yeah, basically I get store-bought tags. A long time ago, many years ago, I was gifted some beautiful store-bought tags in some Happy Mail, and these tags I never use because I basically use them only as templates where I trace around them. So they're a bit, they've got grey lead marks and pen marks all around them, so they're not really usable anymore. But in terms of for my actual putting into a journal, but I use them all the time to trace around and use them as my template. And then how I get the different sizes, people always ask me, what size are your tags? I don't measure them. I have no idea what size the tags are because I kind of just Tetris it. I do it by placing it on the manila folder, and then I kind of eyeball what kind of size tag I want. If I know I want a big tag, I'll use the full size template. If I want a smaller tag, I will just move the tag up and trace it so it's smaller. If I want a wider tag, I'll move the tag over, and then that way I can trace around it on one edge, move it over, trace the other edge, and it makes a wider tag than the template, if that makes sense. But yeah, check out that other video if you want to figure out how I make my templates, if that wasn't clear. And then yeah, basically I make them in bulk. So that's why when I sat down for this video, they were already made. I already had a whole bunch of these templates made. I think I made the templates in a live actually. And so I have them all on hand, ready to go, and basically I just get them. I pull out this colouring book, an old colouring book that was, what's the word, discontinued, or where it's old stock that doesn't sell. So I got one of those colouring books, and it's great because I just turn the pages to be able to glue, because you don't want glue to go all over your desk. So this is just a great way for me to glue with a little bit less mess. I'm using I was going to say Bostik glue stick. I usually use a Bostik glue stick, but I also use an Elmer's glue stick if it's on sale, if it's cheaper. And I like the purple and the blue Bostik glue stick because I like being able to see where I've placed the glue. It's kind of handy. And then, I just place them onto the book page, press them down, leave them to dry a little bit, grab my scissors, and then I cut out my templates. Now, all the while that I'm doing this, I am actually listening to a podcast in the background. But the great thing is I can just pop the camera on and have you crafting alongside me, and then I can go back and add this voiceover now. So for me, though, it's just a really relaxing time where I can spend an hour, a few hours in an afternoon or an evening or night where I can just make these tags. And it's quite relaxing, therapeutic. I don't always feel like making tags, but when I'm in the mood, it's just a fun thing to do. And I often get into the mood for weeks at a time. So for 2 weeks, all I'm doing is making tags, nothing else. And then after those 2 weeks, I'm like, I can't stand to look at a tag again for a couple months. So yes, I do like to do things in bulk. And when I'm in the mood, it's super, super relaxing and therapeutic. But this isn't to say that I'm making tags all the time, constantly. I'm just going through these book pages, cutting out each of these tags, and as you can see with my process, it is sort of like a production line. I don't make one tag at a time. I tend to think it's more time effective, is that the word, to do it in stages, in steps. I find that it goes quicker that way, and also for me it's just more therapeutic to do it this way. And I can concentrate on the podcast. It's cutting these tags out, gluing them down. It doesn't take a lot of thought energy. It's pretty repetitive, and so I can have my mind free to even listen to an audiobook, or sometimes I'll put on some music, sing along. Sometimes I know some people watch like movies in the background while they craft, or TV shows. And a lot of people will watch YouTube videos in the background. For me, it's 9 times out of 10, it's a podcast, usually Psychology in Seattle, who I am a patron of. And if it's not a podcast, then it will be an audiobook. So just cutting all of these out, and then I will pull out my stickers. And these stickers, I usually get them from Stationery Pal. And there is a link down below in the description box for Stationery Pal with a discount code you can use. I always get the same stickers, these transparent ones. I like that you can kind of see through them to the background, to the collage underneath. And you get such a variety, like there's different packs, of course, some have purple flowers, some have pink, some have yellow, some have white, I just love putting them all together. I open up all those packs and put them into this acrylic drawer, and just pull out the drawer. There's 2 in the organizer, and I just pull out the drawer, and it's so easy. I can see what's in there. I know where it is. It's within arm's reach from my desk. I just pull out the drawer, put it on my desk, and then I can, have fun rummaging through and making my tags. So this is one of my staple items. It's one of those items that I'll always get to top up my stash because I use them a lot. I make a lot of tags. I make a lot of journal cards, and I decorate a lot of other things too, like altered envelopes, altered pockets, altered bags. So I'm always, decorating with these beautiful, beautiful stickers. They're all stunning. I love them. It does take me a little while just to figure out which one looks best on which tag, because depending on how busy the tag is in the background, you just kind of match the tag so it is balanced as much as possible. Not that it matters too much, but something I go through. It's a step I go through, and then once I am happy with it, I grab some tweezers, and those tweezers I also got from Stationery Pal, and they just help me to place the stickers properly, because sometimes, when you're just using your fingers, they stick to your fingers and you can't see exactly where you're placing it because your fingers are in the way, and it can get all creased and doesn't go in the right spot. So I find using the tweezers helps. Oh, I forgot one more step. Okay, so I was looking at the tags, and even though it would have been fine if I just added the stickers to these tags as they are, I was feeling a bit more creative and was like, it could do with something else. And so I pulled out some vintage music paper scraps. These are just, offcuts from previous projects, from other journals that I've made. And so now I'm just going ahead and ripping these pieces of music paper into strips, into kind of chunky, scrappy strips, so that I can add them to my tags. I think I add them to either the bottom of the tag or the middle of the tag, just somewhere. I'm not thinking too hard about it, just to add a little bit of interest to the tags, and then just adds that little bit of collage, and I like it. I like how it looks. So and then I grab my tweezers and then I add the stickers to the tags, and the tweezers just help me to be able to place them where I want them to go, and I like them. So I hope you enjoy this video, and as I just keep going on in the background, I wanted to kind of share this story. I shared it before on my channel, and so many people just commented on that video where I shared this story that it really helped them. And it's been a while since I shared this story, so I thought I would actually read it out this time. So it's from a book called Hope by Tim Costello. And it's one of those books that I have in my collection that I'll read every few years or so. It's about he was the CEO, I'm not sure if he's still the CEO, but he was the CEO of World Vision Australia. And I really love his heart for justice, and I love his take on faith. He doesn't shy away from the complexities of faith, of suffering, of doubt, and of the struggles that can be faced in faith. He doesn't just gloss over it. And he's right there in the thick of, issues of justice, social justice, and the powers and the structures, and being a voice for those who are voiceless. And anyway, so in this book, one of the first stories he writes about is people going up to him and asking, how do I do what you do? How do I have a career like yours? And he was just saying he's kind of always baffled by that question, because he never set out to have, his career. Originally he was going to be a lawyer, and then he was a pastor, and then he found himself, fighting for social justice with World Vision, and it's not a linear set path, and it's not something that you can really follow. And so he gives this advice to people when they're like, what do I do? What steps do I need to take to have a future like yours, or whatever? And he tells the story that he had heard when he was young, and it goes like this. I'm just going to read straight from the book, and I hope that it is encouraging to you and meets you where you're at. A father who was a coal miner took his son down the shaft into the underground pit where he worked. He said, "Wait here in this lit space, as I need to go along this tunnel." While the son was waiting for his father to come back, the light in the mine failed. He was in pitch darkness and screamed out for his father. Down the tunnel, he heard his father's voice command him to start walking towards him. The boy cried out that he could not see anything. His father said, "Is the light on your helmet on?" The boy replied that yes, it was on, but it only threw light for one step ahead, and it was deep black beyond that. His father said, "Well, take that step." Of course the boy did, and cried that he could not see any further. His father said, "How much light can you see now?" The boy replied, "Only about a step." Back came the instruction, "Well, take that step." There was enough light just for one step at a time, and of course, by following the soothing advice one step after the other, he finally reached the safety of his father's strong arms. And Tim Costello goes on to say, "We would all prefer to see much further ahead. We want the road map and to know the shortcuts. But usually we only have enough light for the next step. To get anywhere, we must take that step. So he says to people who ask him that question of what do I do, he asks them, I usually ask them if they are doing what they need to in this moment, maximizing the light that is within them, or are they trying to look too far ahead? That story illustrates the way my life has worked, and I look back in genuine surprise at how far I have come. Take the step with the light you have. Walk in that light. It is sufficient. So I love that story that he wrote. And it really spoke to me as well the first time I heard it. Because I'm a person who wants to know 10 steps ahead. I'm a person who wants to know the plan. And when I don't have the plan, when it feels like it's the unknown, it's darkness and chaos, I would get very stressed, I would get very confused, I would get very frustrated. It wasn't a pleasant place to be, it felt uncomfortable. But now I'm getting much better at being okay with not seeing 10 steps ahead. If I have one step ahead just for this one day in front of me, if it's just to sit at my desk and make tags, if it's just to get up and clean my room, if it's just to do this next thing, that is enough. I don't need to know a million steps ahead and what the future holds. And I love that line. Are you doing what you need to do in this moment? It's all you need to think about. The right here, right now, this moment. And are you maximizing the light that is within you? I love that because it just assumes you all have a light in you. And I agree with that. I believe everyone has a light within them. And all you need to do in this very moment, on this day, is ask the question, are you maximizing the light within you in this moment? I love that. And that could mean take a nap. If you're burnt out, take a nap, get some sleep. It might mean you need to have some rest, and that's the way your light can be maximized. Or it might look like, getting up, going to work, doing your day job. It might look like sharing a story that you're too scared to share because, it takes courage to share a story. Like even me with this story, I'm like, I'm not sure if anyone's going to be interested in this story. Maybe they're like, just stop talking. I only want to know about the crafting. And there's a little bit of hesitation on my part of like, I don't know if people are going to like this because I'm a bit of a people pleaser and I want people to like me, all those insecurities that we have. But I want to share this story because it's on my heart, and it might help someone out there the way that it helped me. So if that's you, I'm sharing this for you, getting my courage up for you. And it's a way for me to maximize the light within me, because I believe in stories. I believe that when we share stories, it helps people. And, it's one of the reasons why I write books. I have these books that I write. My book is actually called Lamp in Dark Places. If you're interested, there is a link down below where you can purchase it. And it's basically a visual memoir and a peek inside my journals that tells my story of facing different struggles. And in fact, I was very much inspired by this story, and it slightly appears in my book towards the end, where I was struggling with, what do I do? What do I do with my future? I don't know what it looks like. And there's a page where I just talk about, just take the next step. Just take the next step. That's all you need to do. If it is just to take the next step for joy in this moment, do that. If it's to take the next step for love, do that. If it's to take the next step for peace, do that. And so, I thought that was kind of fun, rereading this book and remembering that connection that, yes, I read this book ages ago for the first time when I first encountered that story, but it stayed with me and it appeared in my own book, Lamp in Dark Places. And even the title, I'm like making that connection, the story he told of being in the coal mine, in the darkness, but there's enough light for one step. Well, that's kind of what my whole book is about. The theme of it is, we're all going to go through times of darkness. We're all going to go through times of struggle at some point. We're all going to suffer at some times. And it's going to feel dark. It's going to feel really, really dark. But I believe there is always light in the darkness, and enough light to take that step. And I always will believe that we all have a light inside of us too, no matter how dark it is around us, no matter how dark it feels inside of us, there's there is light in us. There is always light in us, and there's always enough light to guide the next step. And yeah, I love that. I love that the story can also be like a parable, or a, what's it called, allegory for a metaphor for, or an analogy for God, the Father, his kind, loving voice guiding his Son. And that's like God's voice saying, well, you have enough light. You might have forgotten that you don't have, you have enough light. But God's just this constant reminder, this constant voice that there is enough light. There is, and it is sufficient. His light is sufficient. His light never goes out. And even in the darkest times, even in the darkest suffering, his light is the thing that keeps me going and that allows me to take that next step to love, peace, and joy. So yeah, I hope that was encouraging. Hope that was something that maybe spoke into your life at this moment, whatever you're going through. Know that there is a light in you, and that there is light guiding you, even if it's only enough for a tiny little fairy step. If you need to take that step for peace, love, and joy in your life, what does that look like in your life? Do that thing. You have permission. You have permission. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm making a whole bunch of these tags, and I love how they look. I do have another video coming up with a different tag making video. I think I make some collage masterboards in that one, so that's really fun. So thank you so much for watching. If that story spoke to you in any way, feel free to let me know in the comments. And if you're interested in my book, like I said, that's pretty much in a nutshell what it's about. A lamp in dark places and finding that light in those struggles. If you're in Australia, it's actually cheaper to just go through me directly, so you can email me to purchase my book, because I have print copies that are cheaper to send out than through that website. A big special thank you to all my patrons who supported me in January. Thank you so much for allowing me to do what I do here on YouTube, making journals and teaching journaling courses and running creative workshops. If you would like to become a patron, you can click the link down below in the description box to my Patreon, and that is where you get access to all my extra videos, including journal making series each month. The Ruby tier gets you access to every printable kit in my Etsy, plus new ones each month, all accessed on my Patreon. Higher tiers get you access to printables and happy mails and journals sent to you in the mail, so feel free to check that out, and I thank you so much for your incredible support.